The meme stock rally has returned. GameStop up 44%. Just AMC Entertainment soaring 55% as individual traders pile in. Is the run-up for real this time? Joining us is J.J. Kinahan, Chief Market Strategist, TD Ameritrade, and Joe Terranova, Senior Managing Director at Virtus Investment Partners, and, of course, a CNBC contributor.
So, I welcome back to the Short Vol Show. I would recommend checking out this interview on it's on CNBC, but you can find it if you go to Thinkorswim and search under news stories for GameStop. But yeah, we've seen another big move up by these meme stocks, and people just love to tattoo me on the comment section. I just want to pull up this one, which is particularly amusing to me here. This guy says, "What happened to GME runs out of steam?" Again, you have no knowledge of the market. So this is like this new wave of quote-unquote traders who they bought a stock and it went up, and now all of a sudden not only are they experts, but anybody who didn't buy it with them is an idiot. And somehow it's this, and this all traces its roots to like the beginnings of crypto, where people, they have this kind of self-righteous thing where like you bought something and it went up, and therefore, you're part of like the downtrodden, and you're one of these like the American dream people that's worked so hard and finally you've gotten what was due to you, and anybody else is on the other side of the trade is a manipulator, big business, an evil person, and the good are those who get long these stocks and they go higher, and everybody else is to be just torched as hard as you can. One of the reasons I recommend checking out this little news story that was on CNBC, and it's right under, if you go under GameStop and you look back, it's from the 27th. It says, "Don't short meme stocks." A very interesting thing about this one, because they say on their, basically one of the big points that they make is like, look, these moving up is a trade. It is a momentum-based thing. It has nothing to do with fundamentals, and there's no way to justify with like numbers and facts why these stocks move. It's a popularity contest. Everybody piles in, and people aren't piling in because they somehow believe that they'd like you to believe that they've researched 2,000 companies on the stock market, and from intensive research and study, they've come up with GameStop as a value compared with every other stock in the marketplace, and thus they've invested in this, and that's the narrative. The reality behind it is people are trying to make a fast buck. They're bum rushing the stock, and they saw it make that big move a few months ago, and they think in their mind, wow, maybe this will just magically go to 10,000 or a million. I mean, I've seen these valuations, 5,000, 10,000, 150,000 for the stock. And it's all well and good to get long these and make money, but the reality of it is that this is a popularity contest. It's not going to last forever. Just because they got a new CEO and the guy has some ideas doesn't mean that they're going to be able to go into new markets and become the market leader instantly there. Let's take NFTs, for example. If they set up an NFT marketplace, there are already established people in that space, and it's not a given that GameStop is going to become the leader in all of these spaces and outperform everyone else, because that's what the stock valuations above $200 signify. They signify that GameStop is somehow going to move into new areas and make $1 zillion. So it's not, like I said, to go on one of these trades is a momentum thing and think, wow, all these people are getting long this. I'm going to take a ride on this up a little ways. There's nothing wrong with that. That's trading. That's the nature of trading. But don't elude yourself in your mind to think that somehow these are going to stay necessarily as high flyers and just continue to rally from here, because that's unrealistic, and the likelihood is that these are going to come back to earth at some time quite soon. And I know in nowadays it's like there's this dumbification of the market where, like, if you've been trading for a while, then that's actually kind of works against you in these people's minds, that using your experience works against you, because what we're going to do is we're just going to buy, give a name. It doesn't matter what the company does. We're just all going to pick these 3 letters, and that's going to be the next one that goes up. It doesn't matter what the company does. It doesn't matter where it came from. It's just we all are going to say, I like this, and then we're going to jump in. And a lot of if you look into some of the memes and videos and stuff, they kind of hint to the fact that this is not logical. They talk about, I'm going to borrow money from my mother's boyfriend to buy this stock, this sort of thing. And, the media has kind of shied away from confronting the non-reality of this thing, because they realize that all these new people are there, and they don't want to go against all these new people that have come into the market or say anything negative, because they want those new people as a new customer base. However, the reality is that it's unrealistic to think that these issues are going to stay at these astronomical valuations. Like, for example, GameStop, 250, 260. It's not realistic to think it's going to stay there. Anyway, you can disagree with me as much as you want and flame me in the comments, but I'm just trying to be a voice of reason in this area of non-reason. Oh, it says WSJ reporter Gunjan Banjari on how small investors are winning big. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, she's my buddy. It looks like she's on TV. That's awesome. Anyway, we've seen back to the VIX. We've seen the VIX really go lower here. VIX down to 16 and change. And, my only comment on that is when these things start to trend, they can continue trending longer than you think. So I wouldn't be picking some sort of spot to back up the truck to say, like, oh, well, if the VIX hits X, some people are saying the VIX hits 19, I'm getting long as much volatility as I can. And then, boom, it goes lower. If you look behind me at the chart for the VIX, you can see we're in a downtrend right now, and we can continue. It can continue to move lower for a while. The VIX could almost go in half from here, and reasonably. So I would be careful about trying to go against the trend here, especially in volatility, as we could certainly see this go lower. You can see the base here in previous years around a 10 maybe. We have a little ways to get there now. Certainly, the lower the VIX goes, the less of a great short it is on the face of itself. But remember, most people who short the VIX are not shorting it based on their opinion of volatility. Most people that are shorting at least VIX ETPs are trying to take advantage of the decaying effects of contango in the term structure. If you don't know what that means, we can pull it up real quick here. The term structure is just a chart that shows where the different VIX futures are in relation to one another. And most of the time we're in a contango situation. So if we look at the chart behind me here, you can see the June future is below the July future, these first two here. And UVXY, VXX are made up only of these two futures. So everything else on the chart is not irrelevant. It comes into play because you can see where kind of things are going to be later. But as far as the actual formula for the VIX products, they're irrelevant. But this relationship between these two futures, now we have over halfway to go before expiration. So this is legit here, 10%. This 10% number means that all things being equal, well, this is a simple oversimplification of it, but all things being equal, this is going to create a decay of 10% per month, right? So this is the real driver when we look at VIX products going lower over time. If we look at VXX, if we look at UVXY, and we go far out in time, the driver of these moving lower over time. The VIX just fluctuates. It goes up and down, up and down. The all-time low is 859. It's gotten up over 100 before, but it just kind of bounces back and forth. But this 10% per month drives these products lower over time. So yeah, you gotta kind of time it a little bit right on the short side, and if you're on the long side, you have to time it exactly right, because counteracting this 10% per month isn't much if you're just day trading. But if you're putting a position on that's any longer than a day, 2-3 days, this is going to start to eat into your profitability, especially to the long side. I mean, only to the long side. So this is why sort of longer term VIX traders will generally trade things to the short side. So that's where we are right now. AMC now down. It was up. Look at this move here we had yesterday. This morning got all the way up to 36, but we've come a lot off of that spike there. GME also off the highs here. And, a lot of people talking trash, a lot of people saying, oh, this stuff is going to make that next leg higher and higher and higher. The reality is that the more this stuff just gets really out of line without there being fundamentals, these stocks, they have fundamentals that you could argue are bullish, but not to justify multiples of the stock price moving up. So the higher these prices get, the harder it is for it to move even higher. So, it's not as if like, oh, it makes it to 300 now, next stop 500, next stop 800, because despite what people say about having diamond hands and holding on forever, this is people's money. And as things move higher, it becomes less and less likely that it's going to move even higher from there, and more people bail out. If everybody had quote unquote diamond hands, then there'd be no market, because you need sellers. To have a market, you need sellers. People love to hate on sellers, right? They say, oh, the seller, it's un-American to sell. They shouldn't even have sellers. But you have to buy it from someone, right? And every transaction, there's a buyer and a seller. Thus, without sellers, there's no market. And some of these quote unquote diamond hands, people obviously bailed out at these higher prices behind me, and they will continue to do so as we move higher. Overall human psychology, regardless of what people are going to say in some Reddit forum, remains the same. And that is, this is run by greed and fear. And when you get a big move up and then it starts to move lower, the fear kicks in. Now, we've seen volume really escalate in GME recently, and thinking about it, if we just zero in here for a second, let's look at this 5-day here. A lot of people bought this, right? There was, I'm not quite sure, I think it was something like 20 million shares traded on Wednesday. So a lot of people bought, a ton of people bought GameStop around 240, right? A lot of people. And a lot of volume on Thursday even. So what that means is there's a lot of new buyers at this 240 area. So if we are to move lower, that's break even for a lot of people. And the more times we have these like fluctuations up and down and more buyers come in at each level, and we don't, the more times we have it where we don't break the all-time high, what they call this area above the all-time high is like blue sky, right? The more trades we have that don't come near to breaking the blue sky, that's more groups of people that have a break-even point of X, whether it be $160, $50, or $240, their break-even is there. So when a stock moves lower and then tries to get back through that point again, there is some resistance there, because people who have been, on the losing side, once it gets back to break even, a lot of them, or at least some percentage of them, are looking to bail out there. And once again, real psychology does creep in here after a time period. This is very remarkable. And I know for many years, GameStop will be a case study in just a groupthink kind of mentality and just bucking the actual fundamentals to jump into something. Even if everything that they've talked about, that all their dreams that GameStop has of turning the company around, moving into other businesses come true, it still probably doesn't justify a price of $250. So reality has to set in at some point. I thought for sure it was going to set in about a month ago, and we were going to make that move lower from like the 150, 140 area. But we've done another leg up, but I really feel like a reckoning is still coming. Feel free to disagree with me. Feel free to trash me in the comments. It doesn't hurt my feelings. We're all entitled to our own opinion, and that's the way we express our opinion with our money, is by putting trades on. I've been wrong many, many times, and anybody who trades for a significant amount of time is going to be wrong many times. If you say you're never wrong, then you're a liar, or you've been trading 10 minutes. So all those people that want to trash me, feel free to, but I will continue to have my own opinion that is different from diamond hands and just being long indiscriminately, whatever the next great thing is, because that's not reality in the end. It feels like the markets have, it feels like the average trader has become, less strategic, and I'm not sure if that's really a good thing. NFTs, I don't get it. I understand spending money on a hobby, and we all do that, but kind of a strange hobby. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please feel free to check me out. I will be coming on the Options Insider Radio in a half an hour if you're watching this live. If not, disregard. But please check out Volatility Views on the Options Insider Radio. It comes on every week on Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Time, where we discuss everything in the volatility sphere, including big trades of the week, open interest on strikes, and other issues pertaining to the VIX and the VIX products, ETPs, and term structure. Thanks for checking me out today. I don't say it enough, I appreciate all the support on Patreon, and I appreciate all the members who have come in and stuck with me. Thank you all for your support, and thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on the Short Vol Show Live.
You're watching Famous Dave.